What's up guys, David Falla here. Welcome to my channel. Super happy to have you guys here and welcome to another tutorial. On today's tutorial, we're going to be doing a burst fade South of France haircut, which is kind of like a modern mullet. Kind of like the fade is a little bit more round. I think it's a super cool haircut. I like it better where it's a little bit longer, but you know, it's gonna be a super fun haircut. You guys are gonna learn a lot. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe and like it. And any questions that you guys have about barbering or related to the video, of course, don't forget to leave it on the comments below. Also, all the tools that I'm using for this haircut, that you can find the links in the description if you guys are interested in anything that I'm using. And that's it. Let's go ahead and start with the video. So I'm going to show you guys how the client looked before getting his haircut. This is exactly how he looked. His hair is short, but we're gonna work some magic, all right? So the first thing we're going to do, we're gonna use a number 3 with the lever open, and we're gonna just clean up that area we're gonna be working on. So we're gonna use that guard, and remember, this is gonna be a South of France, or kind of like a, some people call it burst fade, like a mullet type of look, you know? Everybody calls it differently. So we're gonna clean up that area. That's exactly where we're gonna create our fade. Something to keep in mind, I love my haircuts to be a little bit more square. So even when I'm doing something like this, I'm gonna try to retain some of that weight around where the hair rounds, the parietal ridge. Want to make sure that I retain some of that weight there, just to make it a little more masculine, right? So, well, okay, now we're using the clipper. I'm using my World Seniors with the lever closed, right? And I'm creating kind of like a half moon, like a half circle. And how you can see, I'm leaving the sideburns a little bit darker, and you know, like just kind of making that circle using the corners of my clipper. I think that's the best way, kind of like a pencil type of thing. And I'm using those corners to make sure I create a circle. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that this guide is going to dictate your fade. So make sure that you create the shape that you want the fade to look like, because if it's more square, the fade is going to look square. If it's more round, it's going to be more round. In this case, I want it to look more round, so I want to have that shape. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm using an electric shaver, and I'm just kind of using the corners of the electric shaver just because it's a very small space. So I want to make sure I'm not going to create a harsh line that is going to be hard for me to remove. So I'm just kind of gently using the corners of the blade. That's literally all I'm doing. So here I'm going to use a number 1 with the lever closed. I'm showing you guys a different technique from what I usually do. I just kind of to show you guys something different. Remember, there's so many ways to do a fade, so many ways to cut hair, so I want to show you that. So okay, so I already did a number 1, and you can see on top of that, for some reason it didn't record, but on top of that I need a number 2 close. So I have a 0, 1 close, 2 close, right? So here I'm using the machine with the lever open to start blending that 0 into the 1. And I'm using the corners, so you can see a lot of corners for this haircut, just because the area you're working on, and also it's like on a circle, so it's a little bit different, you know. So I'm using the corners of the clipper. I start with the lever open, then I'm closing that lever little by little. I'm working into like little panels, so I cut a little bit, that, you know, kind of fade that side, and then go to the next one. So I'm kind of taking I would say sections of like an inch, 2 inch to fade, and then fade that first, and then continue with the rest. Trying to be organized. This is one of those haircuts that sometimes like it's just a little bit of precision the way you got to do it, and because it folds a lot of corners, you don't want to mess it up, obviously. So you want to be very careful there. So here I'm using now the number 1 with the lever open, right? And that's gonna blend that 2 into the 1. So I think this is a great way to kind of create your base. So pretty much what I'm doing this haircut is just kind of create the shape that I want, and then I'm going to detail it after. The part of the fade that we consider the fade, usually happen between a 2 and a 1. So as long as those guards, those sections and those guards that you pass are, you know, like they have enough space between each other, you're gonna have a great fade. So now all I'm gonna do is just gonna touch up that haircut. So I'm gonna use the 3-wheel machine open with the lever open. Then I'm gonna close it. Here I'm using a number 2 lever open. Then I'm gonna close it. Then I'm gonna continue doing that until I get back to the 0. So 3, 2, 1.5, 1, 1/16 if I need it, and then the machine will lever open to just touch up whatever needs to be retouched. All right, so we are done with the fade. Whatever you need to retouch, I like to retouch in it. Like if I see something darker or anything that it's out of place, then I'm going to do it once I shape up the client. Sometimes the shape up will let you see if there's any imperfections on your fade, so that's extremely important. So I'm shaping up the haircut. How you can see, I left the corner of the C-cup a little bit darker because I wanted to have that look. And so that's exactly what I did. And then now I'm going to shape up the back, just kind of following where the hair grows. That's all I'm really doing, how you can see. And then the back, I'm going to kind of shape into like a point, how you can see here. And I'm just kind of standing behind. When you're doing something like this, like a different type of shape on the back, make sure you stand right behind what you're cutting. If you stand on an angle, you might not make it even. So it's just really important that you stand right behind where you're cutting. You can see, you know, I'm doing that side, so I'm standing right behind that guy, and then I'm going to the other side, then I'm walking to the other side, and then when I'm doing the middle, I'm standing right behind my section. That's kind of pretty much for every time that you're doing anything cutting hair. You know, when I'm like, for example, doing the any section that I'm taking, I'm always make sure I stand right behind that section. Okay, so now all I'm doing, very easy. The client has short hair already, so I'm not cutting much. I'm just gonna give it in some texture and cutting a tiny bit of length. So I'm using point cutting for this, and I'm just point cutting the top a little bit, taking sections 90 degrees from the head, and that's all I'm doing. And the corners, the sides where the hair rounds, I'm over directing that up a little bit, because how I said before, I like to maintain some of that weight on the side just to create a more square shape. You achieve this by just pulling the hair straight up from the floor. So that's pretty much what I'm doing right here. And at the same time, since I'm kind of point cutting everything, it's gonna give it some texture right away. So I think it's I believe in working smarter and not harder sometimes. So, you know, when you have clients, if I can texture and cut length at the same time, I'm definitely going to choose that. So right here, I'm using a hot towel to prep the skin for the razor. I always use a hot towel. There's many reasons for it, but one of them obviously is to make the shave a lot easier. But second is just to relax the client, you know. So that's always good. Obviously, I do use like a shaving gel. I always use a shaving gel. So that's that, you know. And then here, all I'm doing is, okay, I already had the lines that I created with the trimmer. So all I'm doing is just continuing with those lines. That's literally all I'm doing. Just continue with those lines. You know, like I like to set up my lines with the razor, with the trimmer, and then I use the razor to make them sharper. So my trimmers are not sharp at all, to be honest with you. I prefer not to. Also, I cut a lot of kits. Cut a lot of like clients that don't necessarily need the super sharp lines because they're going for a different type of look. So when I do need to make lines sharper, I just use my razor. If the client wants it even sharper, then I'll add some color. You know, we have color enhancement for that. So that's the reason why my trimmers are not sharp. So here I'm just shaping up the back using my razor, how you can see. And definitely the shape adds so much to this haircut. You know, using the razor just to clean up the bottom of that fade. just to make it pop even more. But yeah, how you can see the shape up adds so much to this haircut. Like it's a, you know, it's really little, frames it very nicely, especially because the hair is short. Once the hair is a little bit longer, the top is longer, the back especially is longer, then you are not gonna maybe focus as much on the shape up, because the main focus on the haircut is gonna be the long hair, especially the back is long. That's gonna be the main focus point of the haircut. So that's that. But since the hair is short, then obviously we're gonna look at the more than the fade. I will say the shape up is gonna be the main focus of the haircut. So then what I did, I added a little bit of powder, and I'm just using the texture that I created to create a little bit of separation, a little bit of like little higher points on the hair, so it just has a little bit more movement. I did tell the client that he needed to let it grow up, but he was super happy. This is how he looked before, and this is how he looks now, and I think it looks great. I said it has texture, nice shape up, it has a nice fade all around. So I think it's a win-win. I think the client was super happy. I'm happy with the result. I hope you guys are happy as well. You guys learned. If you guys like the video, don't forget to subscribe, like it, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.